Hey guys, Wages World here. It is June 12th, going into the 13th, 2020. Come at you with a video. Quite a bit of stuff going on, guys. I went to make a video yesterday and I actually deleted it because it was so negative, and that's just not me, guys. And I'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the Schumann here. Also, we have a really weird CME I want to show you guys. It's so freaking strange. It's crazy. But we'll get into this first. Now look, guys, if somebody is trying to tell you that our frequency isn't increasing, show them this. I mean, look at this. This is just ridiculous. It really is. And I say that not in really a crazy way. It's ridiculous in the fact that people can't see it. I mean, look at that. You can tell our frequency has increased, number one, and number two, we're getting spikes all over the place, all the time. This is the new norm. I'm just going to say it again. Said it 1,000 times. We're actually currently experiencing spikes right now. So if you're actually having ringing in your ears and stuff like that, this could be the reason. But, you know, there's really not a whole lot to like pinpoint and look at on this right now. It's just the fact that overall, look at it. I mean, that's a lot of activity. It really is. You look at this thing 5 years ago, you would see none of this. You might see a spike here and there, but you're not going to see this. That's for sure. So, we'll move on. Alright guys, I got you over here at Seeds. And we're going to take a look at LASCO C2. And this is our view, okay? The Earth is here. Obviously, that's the sun, okay? So it's our view. So whatever, you know, it's like as if we went outside and looked up at the sun. Now you're going to see that CME, right? Well, there's actually two of them. There was one that came off this side too, okay? Now remember, I've been talking about the 180 effect. And what I'm talking about there is that if you have a CME on one side, you can almost draw a line through the sun, and you're going to have another one going off that direction. And sure enough, if you look at that, that's what's actually happening there. Okay? So the big one off to the left, believe it or not, we're not going to talk about that a whole lot because it is a big CME, but it's actually going off the backside of the sun. Okay? Again, like I said before, you know, when it looks like it's going to the left, we got to take into consideration this is two-dimensional, and it's probably either going that way or this way a little bit, either towards us or away from us. I've already went and looked at stereo A, and that's our side view over here. So I know that this is going off the backside. All right, I already went and looked, and that's where it is. But that's not to say that this thing isn't significant, because it is. But we're going to talk about the other one a little bit more here in just a second, because there's some strange stuff along that one. Now, obviously, you know, that's a big one. Okay. I ain't going to say it's huge. It wasn't full halo or nothing, but it was sizable. So we'll go over here and we're going to look at stereo A. And stereo A is going to show us a couple different things here. And first and foremost, you're going to see a flash. See that flash right there? Now, we've seen those before, but typically they are, number one, they're typically thinner. They're not as thick, not as wide. And, you know, most of the time they'll kind of come down in the middle like this and then bow back out and do one of those all the way across the screen. We're not seeing that here. We are most definitely seeing something that goes here and stops. Okay, and it does not generate from the sun. It doesn't look to anyway. So what's causing that? You know, I really don't know. But what I can say is, you know, here's the satellite stereo A looking at the sun. Here's that bigger CME right there. Okay. Right there. Now I know it's not a whole lot to see right there, but as more data comes in, we'll be able to look at it. But the Earth is here. Where's that flash at? See that flash? Looks like it's coming right from Earth, because if you draw a line and outline this flash, the point ends up being right there, not the surface of the sun. So, you know, where's it coming from? I don't know. Okay, that's the simple answer to it. I just don't know. All I'm doing is I'm showing you these observations. Now, you know, we did see a couple little flashes here and there, but, you know, what are they? Are they part of the CME? Did they help cause it? Is this something that instigated that CME? Or is it vice versa? Or does it even matter? You know, I do think it matters at some level, but, you know, the fact of the matter is there is a CME on both sides of the sun, and I don't think that either one of them is actually coming at us. So we're going to go look at SDO. Okay, guys, this is SDO. Now, listen, this is our view, right? There's that sunspot that we were talking about. Now, there's a phenomenon called Earth-facing decay or something like along that line. They've been talking about that a lot lately, and I've spoken about it before. Now, I've been making this observation for over a year now that as sunspots become like Earth-facing, they weaken, and then they grow back to their original strength or stronger as they go away. Well, I guess there's actually some science behind it. There's been some papers written about it and all that kind of thing now. It's just an observation I had made, and, you know, I guess it turned out to be something. But it only happens that during certain times of the solar cycle from their data and stuff that they had collected, right? But this one did not hold to that. This one actually went Earth-facing and did not get weaker. If it did, it weakened very, very slightly. And it looks as though it might be strengthening back up or at least staying at the same strength. So, but what I want to show you guys is this. Okay, now keep in mind the bigger CME did not come right there. It went off the backside of the sun going that way. So this has nothing to do with that bigger CME. What I think what we're looking at here is what we would call a solar tornado that actually left the sun. Okay, so we're looking at it like a coronal prominence, which is just, by definition, basically just a very active area on the sun without being a sunspot. Okay, and the way that these things work, okay, remember I've shown you guys this before. You got the sun and you got the earth and you got the IMF lines, interplanetary magnetic field lines. When we have a coronal hole, the solar wind, right, the solar wind travels on these connectivity lines. So the higher dense material, okay, or I should say, yeah, lower dense material, they would look like this. They spiral real big, all right? Now, the higher dense material would hang close to that center line more, be more compact, right? So we're kind of seeing that here, I think. And I'll show it to you on the 304, and we'll look at it a little bit more. But you can actually see, you know, the spiraling happening right here. So that's actually what's happening on the surface of the sun. Just like between the sun and earth connection, you get lines of connectivity on the surface of the sun that do the same thing, just in a smaller scale. Okay, so when plasma or charged particles want to follow those lines up, they spiral and they look like tornadoes. It's not actual wind. It's just the particles in the direction that they're traveling along that magnetism line. All right. Now, but what I found interesting about this, look at this. Okay, you can see this thing come off the sun and it actually kind of reconnects back. You'll see it happen, and it's a C shape. And we've talked about these C shapes before, right? Now these C shapes are, you know, I don't know how it makes that shape. It's really odd. So you always got to ask your question, number one, when that C kind of hangs on and moves as the C this direction, what's causing it? Is it reacting with an object, or is it an alignment, or is it just something that happens? You know, I don't know. I'm not seeing an object or anything, so I don't know exactly with this one what's going on. But as you see this, you can see it, and you'll see the solar tornado here in a minute. It is right there. Okay, you can kind of see it right there. Now watch the material lift off right there. Okay, it's reaching up, it's moving, and there it goes. Turns into that C, and there you have it, right? So we're going to go look at the 304. Okay, guys, we got the 304 right here, and this is where it looks pretty interesting, right? Watch this, okay? We've all seen filaments, but this one's kind of strange. See how big that reached up and how it spiraled? That was just really strange. I thought you guys might want to see that. You can see it reaching up, originating kind of like right there. Now, it's not originating from the sunspot, guys. And I find that strange too, because why would all that activity be there when we already have increased stuff going on here? Right? So, listen, as you guys look at this, I'm going to let you guys look at this, and I'm going to let it rotate through a few times, and I might move it around. But I get a lot of questions. I've been asked to talk about what's going on in this world today. I get asked that a lot, you know, and I tend to, you know, back off from talking about that stuff because that's not really what the channel does here. You know, it's more about the research and the observations and stuff like that. But I do appreciate that people ask that, and I do understand that, you know, I have an opinion just like everybody else, and if you want to hear my opinion, I'm going to give it to you, okay? And, you know, I guess where I'm at, and I guess I would start here, and I'm not going to take very long to say this because it's pretty short and to the point, and this is, you know, I didn't make a video yesterday because it was so negative. I caught myself doing negative stuff, and I hate that. I don't like doing that. I'm not going to do that to you guys. So, and one of the reasons is because I've had quite a few personal tragedies in the past month or so. Had some friends pass away. I had my boss, his niece passed away, you know, from a texting accident in a car, and it was just, I'm not going to go into details or anything, but it's and the stuff for all that was today and tomorrow. And it's just, you know, stuff's just kind of hard. That's all I'm saying. And again, I went into a lot more of where my head was yesterday, and it was so negative. I was like, what am I doing? You know, why am I understand that all the stuff that's going on. It was kind of bad, but I'm not going to bring that to you guys. I'm just not going to do it. So anyway, you know, we got the global illness is what I call it. And then we got civil unrest right on the heels of that, right? And I'm not going to get into, you know, my position on who's right and wrong and what's going on with all the civil unrest stuff, because all it would do, it would make somebody upset. Somebody might agree with me, but then it's also going to make somebody upset. So I'm not going to, you know, go into detail or whatever about what I think about specific situations globally. I'll talk about, right? So what I'm saying here, guys, this applies to everybody and everything. I've decided that, you know, I wonder, you know, anybody that grew up in the 80s will understand this. You know, we were always taught when we were kids that we're the good guys, right? You know what we weren't taught? Is that the people across the ocean, USSR or Russia or whoever, you know, whatever we're talking about, if we're talking about Cold War, we'd be talking about USSR, right? Well, guess what? Those civilians over there were told they're the good guys too. So who's the good guys? You ever wonder that? And why does there have to be a good guy or a bad guy? Why can't there just be guys? That's kind of what I'm saying. All right? So in order for us to win this, however, whatever your goal is, whatever your position is on anything, and let me tell you this straight up. If something's being done bad, okay, I'm not saying that we shouldn't stand up for things that are bad. Okay? Stand up against those bad things and stand up for the good things and good people, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is the way to do that is this, at least in my opinion. We're never ever going to win the traditional way. Okay? And we're never going to lose the traditional way. So what I'm saying is, let's choose not to win. And let's choose not to lose. How do we do that? We don't choose a side. We're just people. We don't choose a side. We all wake up tomorrow and we decide, hey, listen, we're not choosing a side. You people up there trying to instigate everything that's going on, global illness, all the civil unrest across the planet, not just here, I'm talking everywhere. All right, that's what they want. They want us at each other. So let's not give them that. That's the only way that they lose, is when we don't win or lose. We just wake up and decide not to be mad at each other. That's the only way, guys. That is the only true way for it all to be okay. Now, I know it's a grand idea, and I understand that most likely probably will never happen. But I'm telling you guys, that's the only way that it would all stop without having so much negativity around the rest of it. So that's my opinion on that. And I would never have addressed that unless somebody asked me. Bunches of people were emailing me, asking me, what's your opinion on this whole thing going on? And I'm talking about global illness all the way through all the civil unrest, all the way across the ocean to here and there and everywhere. I'm not talking about specific situations. I'm talking about everything. Let's break their control by not fighting with each other. Let's give each other true forgiveness. That's what I'm saying. Wake up tomorrow and just not be mad at each other. Make a choice. It's a choice. Happiness is a choice. You have to choose that, guys. That ain't something that's just given to you. You have to go get that. And again, a way to get that is to choose not to have a side. Just saying. God bless. Yeshua saves. You can drink this Kool-Aid.